What's up, everybody? What's up? Thank you for coming, folks. Folks, thank you for coming here. A little bit of an extra longer dance today just to celebrate Bitcoin just ripping, huh? Bitcoin is absolutely ripping. That's fun. We're happy to see that. I'm going to try to add a little bit of context to the price action and try to create some value. So, folks, thanks for being here. Warm hello to everybody in the chat as we're filling up the chat room. Take this opportunity to ask me a question directly. I don't see all your messages on Twitter. Of course, you know me, from Twitter at Big Cheds. But I don't always read the replies. There's so many bots, the AI slop and nonsense. So I don't read like all the replies. So this is a great opportunity to reach out. This goes in my YouTube, which is Cheds Trading. This will be in the quick market updates. I try to stream at least once a week. And I've been leaning more towards Friday now. What I do is on Bitcoin Live, which is the best-in-class educational platform for crypto. I'm a founding analyst, and I've been there for like 8 years. And I do a twice-a-week report Wednesday, Sunday night. So if you kind of want more in depth, you can check that out. But I try to create just a lot of free content, and I put it like especially educational stuff, on my YouTube. And I am professionally trained, so I've studied CMT. I'm doing CMT 2 now. I've read most of the textbooks, and I published 4 books myself. And I try to make this stuff free, right? So like all the stuff you see here in the banner on YouTube, Cancer Memoirs free, Trading Wisdom's got a free playlist, and I'm putting the whole thing in the Trading Encyclopedia, one lesson at a time. Trading Quotes, I've got about half of the book free. I'll finish that. And then the Trading Journal, which is my brand new book. It's like, why you should use a journal, how to fill one out, and all that stuff. And that's all the stuff's on Amazon, but I try to make it free and accessible just for everybody. So check it all out in my YouTube channel. One thing I really want to spend a little time talking about is the Trading Encyclopedia. If you see this playlist, these are 3-minute videos that teach you kind of hopefully whatever you're looking for. You want to look up like a pattern or a candle, like what's a doji, how do I scale in and scale out? I just did a video on that. Difference between horizontal and diagonal lines, how do I confirm a breakdown, what's a loading wall, order book knowledge, some sample trading journal entries. I'm just building up this huge library. I've got videos already recorded, through January, brand new one every day. So check it out. These are 3-minute videos that really will give you a nice leg up on TA. So check that out. And just again, a reminder, I do work with BingX, my favorite exchange. I've been with them for like 5 or 6 years. So if you're looking for somewhere to trade, go ahead and check them out. Let's see. Did I miss anything? Not really. So I want to talk about the charts. I'll get to your questions. I see a bunch of stuff. Joel says, what's the story behind the orange mask? I mean, it's Cheds, it's cheese, it's just fun. I put the mask on because I want to show you a little body language. I want to make myself seem more human to you, but I very much respect my privacy and my anonymity. So it's a nice in-between solution for me. The orange mask just goes with, orange coin, Bitcoin. You see the thing in the chair behind me, you see my shirt. And it also works with like, the cheese hat. It's just kind of the theme. So Joel's a great question. But I want to get to the rest of your questions in a second. I see a bunch of my not favorite, but just people showing up who've seen before. Thanks for coming, everybody. I'll get to your questions. But I should probably just riff a little bit first. I mean, Bitcoin is like testing all-time high. That's kind of crazy. So we can go ahead and mark it. We see where the price paused initially with the shooting star back in July. And we saw the price advance, and it formed an upthrust. It was interesting to see. There's a lot of talk about fractals to 2021, and I even participated a little bit in that by putting out some observations, how we had, remember in 2021, we had an upthrust with an outside bar. So if we go back quite a way, I've been there so long, it feels like yesterday, but it really was 4 years ago, which is kind of crazy. We go back to 2021, we had this upthrust here. An upthrust basically, and I have a video on upthrust, of course. You have a resistance level formed, hopefully by multiple price attempts with time interval in the attempts and price distance. But you got a false breakout, right? So that's an upthrust. And so we had that here, the false breakout, the upthrust to this prior high. And there's also an outside bar, right? We saw where this candle's entire range eclipsed the prior range's candle. That's a classical charting term, outside bar. as opposed to like a bearish engulfing, which is Japanese candlestick theory. Like this is technically bearish engulfing where the candle body eclipses the prior candle body. But anyway, that was 2021. A lot of people were drawing fractals and observations. And interestingly enough, we started out with something like that here. And I'm playing around in the daily. I want to riff on the weekly, and then I want to like get to the questions, of course. But it was interesting to note that we had something somewhat similar here, right? So we actually had, you know, upthrust. We had the upthrust of this hot peak here, where we had the false breakout, and then we had the outside bar. And it's like, okay, is it going to fall along and do what it did? Now, 2021 did not do this. 21 did not rally and ever attempt to retest this structure. So it's already different. But until about here, it was similar. It was kind of similar until about here. So let's go back a little bit in time. Let's go back a little bit in time to where we were here. So we were in here. We were pushing down on price from about the middle of September. And like what set the table at that point? Well, the weekly picture, right? And the weekly picture at that point, as we're pushing down, we put in this lower high. We see the doji, right? We see the two green candles into the doji. Doji basically means equal open and close. It can be, you know, dragonfly doji. It can be gravestone doji. It could be long leg doji. It could be, in theory, it could be 4 price doji, which is, you know, equal the whole time. In any case, you had the doji, and that's at the lower high. We're pushing down. So what was going on here? We were pushing down towards the swing low, the weekly swing low. What's a swing low? I got a video on that. But it's basically an important price low before an advance, right? So it was an important price low within the context of an uptrend. So it was within the trend. Let me clean that up. It was within the trend. How do we know what the trend is? Well, the rising MA200, price above the rising MA200. And so as the price was declining in the middle of September, we were viewing this as generalized throwback, a bullish retest of this prior structure, inverted head and shoulders continuation, or you can just call it rounding bottom. It doesn't really matter what you call this type of price structure. What's important is just to identify what's useful about it. What's useful about it is the range peak. And we had the range peak, which provided a breakout signal here and also gave you a throwback or a bullish retest. What's a throwback? Is a throwback to broken resistance, okay? Great comments so far. I'll get to them in a minute. So we were pushing back towards the prior range peak in what can be described as, you know, generally throwback type structure. Now, what was interesting here, this nice little lower wick, okay? We held at the MA20, held at the MA8 roughly, and put in slightly higher low. But for my view, and I talked about this on Bitcoin Live, in my view, rather than saying like this is a higher low, I kind of view this as just a test of the range and kind of just giving more weight, more strength, more girth to this structure. Now there's multiple price points. And so rather than just a higher low, I viewed it as a dual low, and really the price held at support in an uptrend, support which could have generally been viewed as a throwback. So you were still had a very good reason to be a bull. You know, it's easy now to say, look, we're at all-time high, I'm a bull. But even down here, there's plenty of reason to be a bull because it was price at MA20, is price generally doing a throwback. And that's been my posture on Bitcoin Live on Twitter. What's been interesting is kind of on the lower time frames, the different, like the daily and the 4-hour, the trading time frames, and looking at momentum, right? And it's important for us to draw 117K. If we get a crack at that again, that would be a nice throwback for sure. We see this general, you know, double bottom or, you know, double atom, double V. You can call it whatever you want to call it, even atom. It doesn't matter. But you see that type of structure. It gave you a new breakout signal. So if the price pauses here, okay, you would definitely want to buy there. So daily gives you that level. Daily also marks out this level pretty clearly for you. But zooming in even more, if you go back and you've been trading this as I have, we have had other structure, nearby local, recent structure that's given you long signals. We had the 4-hour, you can see here in the daily, but better expressed here on the 4-hour, this inverted head and shoulders with essentially 2 right shoulders, even like a wide right shoulder. What that means is you have an overhead breakout level. You have the 2-level filter, descending supply trend, lower high break, long trigger, super easy. And by the way, 4 hours, just a wonderful time frame for the twists and turns of Bitcoin. And so we had this nice 4-hour long signal, came back, failed hold. So we had the failed hold at that 113K level and the push down. This is that middle to late of September time period I talked about, push towards that dual low, the 108K range, bottomed slightly higher. So what happened? Here's the 4-hour structure. I put out a tweet. Let's find it. I don't do this enough because it's just, man, I have so much stuff going on. But I put out a tweet where I said, here we go. Here we go. September 26th. So we'll go to September 26th on the daily chart and see what we're looking at. Some really nice signals. So that was right here. Okay. Here we are, September 26th. And what am I saying? Good old Cheds. Cheds says, Bitcoin 4-hour potential for tower bottom. Okay, what's a tower bottom? We'll have a video on that in the encyclopedia. You have to search for it. But tower bottom essentially is where you have a move down, normally a big candle, and then you understanding the concept of candle body progression in Japanese candlestick theory, you have a big body, but then it just stalls. You have these small series of smaller bodies, and then kind of a wall up or a move back up, a big candle. It doesn't have to be like a pure Marubozu, meaning, shaven top, shaven bottom, but it's a tower bottom. And so I said, we have a little setup here for tower bottoms. Let's go through this tweet one part at a time. I'll do Ethereum and then I'll get to the chat. So this is my tweet, and I said right here, this is where I'm basically saying, it's right here. I'm saying there's a potential for a tower bottom. I mean, look at this structure, big move down, all these small bodies. These are all spinning tops technically. This, these are all spinning tops. Even this one, right? And you had that stalling and setup for a tower bottom. Boom, there's your tower bottom. Okay. Also, daily tweezer. Okay. What's a tweezer? A tweezer is essentially where you have the equal wick on a candle here. And it's a tweezer at the lower Bollinger Band, which is exactly where you want to see it. Understanding, this is all things I've lectured on a million, trillion, gazillion times, but candlestick theory works quite well with Bollinger Bands. If you want a bullish reversal candle, you'd like it, or signal rather, you'd want it at the lower Bollinger Band. If you want a bearish candlestick reversal signal, you want it like at the upper Bollinger Band. So here's our tweezer bottom. So that's like confluence where you see 4-hour structure, potential tower bottom. Daily gives you more confidence. Hey, potential for a tweezer bottom here. And even if it's just a bounce to like the MA20 or even the underside here, it looks to be setting up for a bounce is what I'm saying here. And a potential higher low to the weekly swing low. So I was also saying it's also lining up with the fact to bottom at this low, but also slightly higher. It's bullish. It looks like it's going to bounce. It's a nice setup. And so just gorgeous follow through 117. I didn't update this. Now we're at 123K, right? So, I mean, we just had all these opportunities to get long here, right? If you wanted to. So that is that. What are we doing now? Okay, well, I put out a tweet earlier. You could very well view this, and this is not necessary, but you could say, okay, this is what Ethereum did with the descending right angle broadening wedge. Okay, this is what Ethereum did on the weekly here. Okay, you remember everybody and their mother, their brother, their cousin, their uncle was calling for, 6,500, 6,500 to 10K. I have a logarithmic here, but just based on, a simple measured move, if I can find that, there we go. Just like, this is rough. You don't want to do it too exact because it's general price zone, but everybody was calling for that, right? And freaking out, throwback, just enough, throwback, bullish retest of the prior range peak. And so here with Bitcoin, we could potentially be doing that. We could potentially be doing that as well, right angle broadening wedge. And it's interesting to see, the Ethereum strength versus Bitcoin has been waning. And if you look at this trend, I even have dominance on a different watch list, but dominance is curling up. Bitcoin's taking back over. So that's all happening as we're seeing that tweezer bottom. Tweezer bottom, the 4/8 potential tower. So you can do this with Bitcoin and you can give yourself a measured move. I'm just not big on like price targets and measured moves. Because you could say, okay, clean to 140. Yes. Yeah, there's no resistance up there. But if the price, like right now, if it shoots up like 10K in this daily candle, it's probably going to cause a short-term reversal. That's too high, too fast. So you want to also just, price targets are fine. They're good guidelines, but you also kind of want to be on watch for local price structure. All that being said, you can absolutely take a long in a break of like 124K here. It'd be a clean breakout. And then how do you confirm that? That's up to you. I have a video on how do you confirm. I'll sort by most popular. How do I confirm a breakdown or breakout, right? So how do I confirm it? It could be 1 hour close, 1 daily, 2 daily, whatever you want. Potential breakout. But if it stalls here, which is logical, which is reasonable, 100% 117K, 117.5, you should be quite interested. But it looks beautiful. Ethereum still looks pretty good too. It's pushing towards the all-time high. I want to go back to the weekly time frame. It was not unexpected that it paused here at the all-time high, 4,800. And it's been a very easy to play, generally speaking, waiting for a throwback. You got it. Or playing the breakout. We may or may not get it. But I mean, simple, patient technique. If you want to go long, wait for a dip and an uptrend. If you want to go short, wait for a rip and a downtrend. So I've rambled enough. Now it's time for me to hear from you folks. So take a deep breath. I'm going to take one too. Once you head over, you hit sub, and then you just leave me a question in the chat room. And then I really want to hear what you have to say. We can look at different altcoins. We can talk about like trading problems you're having, just whatever you want. Let's take a little look at it. What's up? Influence Andy, Andrew, Peter, M, Tamir, Hanny, Matej, as always, Major, Maddie, everybody else. Nice to see you folks. How's everybody doing? Andy wants to know, hey, Cheds, what formations do you start to look for in a blue sky breakout to begin to take profit? It's an interesting question. I don't look for like a formation. I don't say like, pardon me. I don't say I'm looking for like a, I'm not looking for an evening star. I'm not looking for a gravestone. I may be aware if we get an upthrust, like a false breakdown, a false breakout, you could take some profit there for sure. But there's so many schools of thought. And if you go to my YouTube channel, which you're here now, go to the Trading Wisdom playlist. Video number 9 is profit taking. So I've kind of got to give you a good sense of how to do that. So you could, and for sure, you could be taking some profit as the price, trim a little bit. I've got a whole bunch of trades in play right now, and I've been taking small partial profits on them. I keep paying myself, right? And so, you could have a breakout and a failed hold. Maybe you take some profit there, sure. You could have a super overextension. Like I said, if it shoots up like 10K in today's daily candle, I think you probably would take some profit because it'd be too high too fast. And that's if you're trading, if you're hodling, if you're DCA, none of this really applies. But this is all kind of trading technique. But it's one of those things where it's like, it's hard, right? You want to take profit, but you don't want to leave money on the table. And so a lot of times people end up being frozen and taking no profit and doing nothing. And so you have to scale in, you need to scale out. I just literally posted a video on that in the Trading Encyclopedia, date published newest. And this is a lesson, Trading Wisdom. It's from my second book, which super popular book, Trading Wisdom. Thank you. Lesson 28, to like scale in and scale out. And you kind of just give yourself a little more flexibility, right? Take a little profit. Don't overthink it. Leave some though, for sure. And let that ride and just hang out. What's up, Andrew? Nice to see you, buddy. Could I look at aluminum? Yeah, okay. I don't think I've ever looked at aluminum. Probably not into crypto. Let's go to all aluminum. Aluminum. Sure. Whatever. Yeah, whatever. Chart to chart, right? Yeah, that's mega bullish. Definitely looks like it's going to break out. Wow. I mean, this is super duper mega spot. Wow. Interessante. Look at that. I mean, the significance of a break of this range would be significant, right? That's not like very eloquent to me, but breaking this price range, which has tried to break since 2024, would be significant. So yeah, your question is, it look like it's about to break multi-year resistance? Yeah, I think it does. It does look like it's about to break multi-year resistance. So that was a good one. Peter Influence says, Big Cheds, you ready for all-time high? Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready if we get it, man. Cheddar says, Cheddar crew from Tbilisi, Georgia. What's up, man? Great to have you. Tamir says, I watched your short video. It was really good. Even someone with ADHD can understand. Hope your health is okay. Thank you. And thank you, Tamir. And guess what? I have ADHD. And I've made it. I've made it this far. I've had a great life. Hopefully I have much more great life to come. But I had ADHD as a kid. I mean, I had a lot of trouble in school when I was a kid. I mean, forget about it, right? Um, so that's why, look, this trading encyclopedia, these are 3-minute videos. It's designed for me, so it's designed for you, right? 3-minute videos, you can watch these. You don't need, it's not 10 minutes. If you want to know a topic, just watch this. I'm trying to hook you up. All right. Matej, good to hear you as well. Talked about that, Joel. Major says, what's the next level of interest for retest? Well, I talked about that already. Is it going to be 117K? Should the price pause here? We are just inches from an all-time high, which is exciting. This is, by the way, not the first time I've done a live stream during an all-time high. I've actually done it several times. If you've been here with me, thank you. I've been doing this for quite a while. But again, if the price should pause, should fail here, you know, back to 117K, that would be absolutely a throwback target. Okay. Let's see. Kunal, what's up, man? Can you review Tesla weekly? Is the current weekly candle concerning? Today's Friday, right? So it's reasonable to look at an equities chart, you know, on a, it's reasonable to look at an equities chart on a Friday, right? Like, for example, like in crypto, you don't want to look at the weekly candle on Wednesday, Thursday. You want to wait till Sunday, you know, sometimes Saturday night, but really Sunday night. So Tesla weekly, the question is, and folks, get your questions in here. You've got me, I'm live, we're chilling, we're hanging out. Just fire away. Don't be shy. I really want to hear from you. The question is the current weekly candle concerning? I mean, it's a bearish engulfing. Okay, you can call it an upthrust as well, but I mean, the overall chart is pretty good. It's slowly grinding higher. I want, like, the concerning has like emotional implications, and I'm not trying to say you're being emotional, but I try not to think about it that way. I try to be more tactical and strategic. Like, if I'm a bull, I've got this gap here that can fill and can very well be support. So I just, great. I'm on an opportunity to buy a dip in an uptrend at like 400 or whatever if it gets there. You see this nice tightening range break here, beautiful tightening range break, and I think you roughly hit your measured move of this coil or the symmetrical triangle. And a pause near the prior high is logical. Now you look for rising demand. You've got a rising demand trend. Price can consolidate, tag that, and you can go. So concerning, you got to be, the price needs to consolidate. Like, moves need to pause and digest. You have to shake out, look at plug power, huh? You need to, that's pretty nice. Look at that volume and accumulation. You got to balance out short-term speculators, right? So concerning, you just got to learn how to put a candle into context and understand trends need to pause, they need to digest. Okay, does Aave still look good under 360, says Maddie. I have Aave up here. Here we go. Does it still look good under 360? I don't know what you mean exactly. Does it still look good under 360? I don't know what that means specifically. Like, what do you mean under 360? But I mean, if we're looking at it right now, it is a slight uptrend. You know, we see based on the slope of the rising MA200, price above, you know, rising MA200 means it's an uptrend. You see it now bouncing into this descending supply trend, right? It's a descending trend of supply, meaning there's sellers here. That can break. You could very logically take a long trade on a recapture of like 300, for example, if you wanted to. But does it look? I don't know what your question means. Like, does it look good under 360? It's a little bit of a choppy, messy look, but I'd rather be a bull than a bear right now. Okay. Let's see. Arjeet says, can you take a look at the Nifty 50 index? Sure. I don't know that I've looked at that one before. Nifty 50 indices. Let's take a look at the Nifty 50. I like the pretty cool name. Not much going on here. Look at this, flat. The trend is flat. What was your question? I longed on September 17th open. Okay. I longed on September 17th open. Okay. And you said I got stopped out. Good job on the 24th. Oh, all the way down here. I mean, that's reasonable. Good. You know what I like about your story is, and I didn't hear your thesis, you know, which, probably your thesis was a breakout here. But but you had a trade idea, you tried it, and it didn't work out, and then you took your loss and you moved on. That's excellent, rather than holding all the way down. There's not much of a trend here. It's hard to really trade this. If you're looking for a trade, you probably need to drop a little bit lower, because your breakout failed traded here. Your breakout trade failed here rather. And even trying to take a break in this high would be tough. You have the obstacle. You have the prior high just above. So this is very choppy. Look at the slope of the MA200. There's not much of a trend here. So if you're trading something that doesn't have much of an inherent trend, there's a greater chance of you getting stopped out. Hopefully that makes sense. Let's see. Jeremy says, Cheds, your legend. Thank you, brother. Can you take a look at the troll chart? Sure. Is that like one of those memes? Troll USD, crypto, boom, boom, boom. Let's try Coinbase. Troll. I don't know if I've heard of this one. There's no history. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. You want me to look at this? Is there another exchange with more history? Maybe Qcoin, maybe MEX. Let's see. Oh, there we go. Okay, there we go. Okay, so what do we think about the troll? Here's a 4-hour. Let's go to daily. Yeah. Okay, a couple schools of thought. Again, not a ton of price history, but it's actually a somewhat decent chart. And I do like the sweep and recapture of this low here. Any kind of a bull thesis probably should be managing its risk based on holding this level, 12.5 cents. Okay. I don't love it due to the lack of history, but there's even some accumulation here on the range low recapture. These nice series of lower shadow candles showing buyers stepping in. It's not a bad chart. I'd probably rather be a bull than a bear, to answer your question. What's up, Steven? Avent, AVNT. I've seen that one on the timeline a little bit, but I actually didn't end up looking at it. Let's see if we can get it here. Not a lot of history. There's not much to do with this. So I can't really comment on a chart with this, this little history. I can at least tell you in the 4-hour, it's in a falling channel. That's quite clear. There's no real bounce in this. I'd actually be very careful. I probably would say I would not want to be holding this. All right. Arjit says, I got ADHD as well, and your videos are really interesting. Thank you, brother. Yeah, you learn something new in every video. That's what I'm saying. I don't know if you guys know, but I created a spreadsheet. I went through all the textbooks, and I made a list of like every term. And so I've got like 450 unique topics for videos, and I've recorded like 250 of them. So I've got some work to do, as you can tell. But I'm going to keep that going for you. Matej, can you look at Litecoin? Sure, man. Anything for you, brother. Litecoin. I hope everybody's having a great day and a great week. And again, I just want to stop and say thank you for coming and spending a little bit of time here. There's a lot of channels you could be watching. These streams are somewhat rare for me. Again, just to try to go once a week. But I try to give you my heart every time. So what is the question about Litecoin? Rising triangle from 2022. So we'll go to the weekly. Rising triangle. I see what you're saying. So first of all, I don't see a rising triangle, but you certainly do see rising demand structure. So, when you're start with what looks most clear is you do have an increasing sense of buyer pressure here, right? You do have an increasing sense of buying pressure here with these higher lows. But it's just the overall trend isn't great. And look at the weekly chart. It's an unconfirmed downtrend. I think if you think it's going somewhere, again, we're just back to the same TA we've had for now a couple years. Just wait to see if it can break 140. If it breaks 140, you got a pretty good shot at like 215 in this range. So just watch this level. And I think it's reasonable to say that, but I just wouldn't touch it in here. There's just so many other better charts with trends. We want to ride a trend. We want to ride a trend, and we want to take advantage of moves against the trend, right? We want to take advantage of dips and uptrends and ripped and down trends. What's the all-time high here? 124.2. We're getting close to it. It's pretty spicy. It's a pretty spicy move. Okay, can I look at, thank you for selfish sharing. Big hug, thank you as well. Big hug to you as well. Cheery says, I'm new and thinking about buying my first Bitcoin. Okay. I've been following you for months. Thanks for the content. Thank you. If I may, given how it's looking, I'm nervous about buying when it's hit all-time high. I get you. But couple schools of thought here. Cheery, Everlord. So, like new all-time highs usually lead to more all-time highs, right? Number one. Number two, it's a secular uptrend. I mean, the chart of Bitcoin's ridiculous. And in my last stream, I went on a rant, and I should probably post it. People were like panicking in this tweezer top. I'm like, this is a weak tweezer. There's no volume. It's in an uptrend. So the monthly chart's ridiculous. So this is what you're buying. You're buying up here. That's fine. But are you trading, right? So if you're trading, if you're saying you want to buy some, I would ask you, are you trying to trade it? Or you just want some Bitcoin, right? You just want to like get a piece of it. If you want to get a piece of it, just buy like $50 a week or whatever that number is to you, right? $5 or 500 or two, whatever it is, right? If you're dollar cost averaging, you know, just buy a little bit every week. It's really hard. It's really stressful to try to nail. That's why I'm so old and gray. It's because I try to nail every twist and turn. I trade them and I tweet them out for you folks. But like, if you're not going to do that, just buy a little bit. If you want some because you want to, again, I'm not a financial guy. I'm just a pure price nerd, right? But if you want some to balance out your other investments or whatever, just buy a little bit every week and don't even like worry about the price because it's in a long term, it's in a secular uptrend, right? So, but if you want to try to time it, if you're doing a trade, then just go watch the trading encyclopedia. That's going to give you some more skills and some more confidence, okay? Let's see. Aster. A bunch of people asked about Aster. And folks, if you want me to look at an altcoin, I will do it as long as I've got Mojo here. Let's try. See, one of these should work. I think one of these has more history. No, not a lot of history. That's the problem. That's right. This is the new one. CZ Binance. By the way, BNB is super. I've been mega long in this, and this is one of my best trades in a while. I mean, this thing is just gorgeous. Love BNB. I mean, boom. Thank you, BNB. But anyway, let's get back to Aster. Now, the issue here, first of all, there's not a lot of history, so that's a problem. Maybe we'll drop to 4 hour, and there's just not too much to go on, but you've got at least a break of this descending supply trend, and you have the recapture of lost support. And this price action here looks pretty bullish as well. It kind of looks something like, you know, like a bull pendant or something. So you've kind of got that look. I think it looks okay. It looks okay, just not a ton of history. I'd probably rather be a bull, but I'm just not overwhelmed with the chart due to the lack of price history. Okay. Let's see. Let's get to the other question. A lot of great questions. And by the way, if I missed your questions, it's just me. There's no moderator. I'm just hanging out. I'm doing my best. I'm trying to cover everybody. Is it BMNR or BNMR? Was requested BMNR. Bitmine. There we go. Let's take a look at Bitmine. So what do we think? This is interesting. This is a tightening range. Boom, 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 boom. Which way is it going to break? I mean, it's an uptrend, so it's probably going to break up. I would rather be a bull than a bear. And it's interesting to see that the price found support right here. That's a key level to watch going forward. It's still consolidating, and it's got this gap overhead to deal with. You have a push into the upper Bollinger Band, but it's fine. It's slowly consolidating. I would rather be a bull than a bear, so I like BNMR. Let's see. I looked at Aster. I did that. I looked at Aster there. God bless you as well, Jose. Thank you, brother. I like the structure of W. Is that like Wayfair? Is that what you mean? Sure. Whatever. I'll look at a chart. I don't care. Wow. All right. I didn't know Wayfair was this bullish. Whoa. Look at that. That's mega bullish. That's super bullish. It's got a new breakout signal ahead. I buy stuff from Wayfair. I mean, but I didn't know. That looks really good. And look at this advance. Wow. 26 to 90, and it looks to be preparing for a new high, so it looks pretty good. Raise Your Vibration says, such a pleasure to see you. Thank you, brother. Somebody wants me to look at the SOL monthly chart. We can do that. We can take a look at the SOL monthly chart. Hope everybody's doing well. And really, again, thank you for being here. Just remind everyone, check me out on Twitter at Big Cheds. Check out BingX if you're looking for an exchange. Bitcoin Live, I do my twice a week full market report. I'm a founding analyst. I haven't missed a report in 7 years. That's twice a week. I haven't missed once. Trading Encyclopedia, 3-minute videos, teach you whatever you want to know. All this great stuff on my YouTube. Long-form interview series. I've got more coming out. I've been kind of lazy, but I'm working on those. Trading quotes, all my books. They're all on Amazon, but I got free versions here for you, and I'm currently recording the audiobook for Trading Journal. So the question was about Solana on the monthly chart. Let's take a little peek. So ugly September candle, is it? This candle? Why is this ugly? Why is it ugly? I mean, it's got a little bit of an upper shadow, but I mean, look, I mean, the next month, similar candle here, next month even closed and then pushed higher. I mean, it's another close above the EMA 8 on the monthly. It's a very light volume, you know, not shooting star. It's a very light volume spinning top. It's not that ugly. You don't want to overinterpret any one candlestick, number one. Number two, if you're going to do that, you have to understand how to use candlesticks. Where is sort by day published news? Okay, I just published a video probably like a week or two ago about like Japanese candlesticks and here we go. Volume and Japanese candlestick signals. Like, go watch that video, and you say, okay, there's like really nothing to worry about. Number one. Number two, all candlestick signals are short-term signals. So even if it was like a super bearish candle, which is not, it wouldn't really mean that much, other than like a short retracement. So, you said I meant W, the altcoin. That's so funny, Jose, because like Wayfair looks really good. W is an altcoin. Okay, WSD. Oh, wormhole. Okay. That's funny. That is super funny. Look, there's not a lot of history. Well, it's monthly. All right, it's not bad. This isn't bad. A little bit of evidence of accumulation here. Nice steady progression higher. That's 4 hour. What's the daily look like? Not a ton of history, but it's a nice looking chart for what history there is here. Okay, W looks pretty good. We looked at SOL in the monthly chart. Pedro says, you're the man. Thank you, Pedro. All right. This has been a great stream. We're coming up on 40 minutes. We talked a lot about Bitcoin. What I didn't talk about was going forward. Well, I did talk a little bit about going forward. Obviously, you want to watch 117K, but it's notable that the retracement here was rather shallow. We only got to MA20. We didn't even get to the MA50. If we make a new all-time high, it was a shallow retracement. And you even have kind of a bullish break potentially of a rising wedge here. So, I mean, it's one thing to understand as well. Bullish breaks of descending bearish patterns are some of the best performing, according to Bulkowski. So, regardless, the Bitcoin trend is quite strong. A lot of people were freaking out about the monthly tweezer, but just very clearly on the weekly chart, you've been able to contextualize this recent price action, especially end of August onward, as just bullish throwback, bullish retest of the prior range peak, and now we're flexing with or flirting with a new all-time high. It's also logical that this video marks the top 4 right now for the next week, maybe, because it could pause right here. It could very easily pause. It could come back. It could test support. You don't want to fear that. You want to condition yourself to buy dips in uptrends, right? Take advantage of moves against the trend. You can also play a breakout if we get a clean break here of like 124K. So there's a lot of trading opportunities. I went over all the wonderful trading opportunities that were here. There's so many opportunities for you to already have been long from all these different plays. I talked in my tweet about the tower bottom that formed and the tweezer bottom on the daily chart at the lower Bollinger Band. So the TA has given you a lot of really nice clues as to what the price trend is doing, and that's what TA does. It helps you identify the trend, helps you look to take advantage of moves against the trend, and then hopefully have some fun too. So if I missed your request, I'll try to do it next time. I'm going to be traveling next week, so I will not do a stream next week, but I'll come back. I'll do one like a week from Tuesday, and I'll try to make it up to you guys then. So folks, thank you for hanging out with me. I'm going to dance on the way out. I like to dance to celebrate life. I love dancing. Music's wonderful as well. So we'll dance with the Church of 8 Wheels, and we'll hang out. We'll have a little fun together, and we'll go from there. So let's do this. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.